Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Ting as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track titled Sentenced. Now this is from the game Arc Knights if I'm not mistaken, provided to YouTube by Yo-Yo Rock. We got Monster Siren here, MSR, Obadiah, Brown Beach, David Lynn, and Ali Armstrong. Now we're going to listen through this track from start till finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do it. What do we got? Oh, fantastic with the guitars and the drums and bass. Oh, it's kind of sexy sounding in it with these blue. I tried so hard to be the one who improves it. I love the clasp, the clackiness, the reverb tail on those snary bits. The harder I fought, the worse we got. I got lost and I let my morals get diluted. I like the fact that the organ refuses to go up to the major lift there, stays within the minor triad for that last extra bar. There are not subtitles for this. Okay, that's okay. There are not subtitles for this. The sounds echo back and haunt my dreams. They're taunting me, telling me that I'm the one who will be sentenced today. The bell tolls for thee, right? Having that bell effect. I'll be sentenced today. Cool. How did my own code get so fragile and fluid? Isn't it obvious that my conscience has bruises? Isn't it obvious that my conscience has bruises is a beautiful line. The matter of factness, the way that was delivered by the singer is wonderful. I just wanna come clean, but don't you? Yeah, let's sing drum groove in the background. I'll talk about it in a moment. Tied by an institution in ruins. All the weight on my shoulder replaced by monsters. Is this a male vocalist coming in to harmonize with the lady singer? Are they harmonizing in seconds or fourths? I became a foot soldier who swings for the ones that hold power. A gavel strike can end a life, but still my gavel falls like endless cannonballs. The sounds echo back and haunt. I like the activity going on with those drums. I want to talk about it because it's not just the main sort of kicks and snares that you can hear. There's also a lot of ghost note, little cymbal and ride parts going on here with the shuffling in the background as a sub layer. It adds a little bit of extra depth to the recording because you don't hear it at first. You just kind of go, oh, okay, there's little sparkles occasionally. That is a lot of really intricate work by the percussionist here. I'm very impressed with that. Relative to the guitars and the organs and everything else there, they're the ones working the true charm, I think. Soulful guitar tone, but like the drums are carrying it, in my opinion. That was a beautiful little vocal crack there. The singer is exceptional, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I talk about the percussionist, but like the singer is fantastic as well. Sentenced to a lifetime of nightmares is a horrific thought. It's not pleasant. It's a very authentic performance. Carries a lot of emotional weight to it, you know? I think a lot of the wonder comes from the sub layers, and it's like those harmonized guitar solos, the tremolo picking in each side, you know? I mean, the weird thing is to me, like, I don't really feel anything, but I think it's primarily because I have no actual, like, connection to the game Arknights or anything itself. I don't know the character that this is related to. But luckily, we do have lyrics in a moment to kind of get more of a hint of what it's all about. So I look forward to that. Oh, no ads. Lyrics time. There we go. Sentenced is an Arknight song acting as leitmotif of Penance, performed by the American singer Ellie Armstrong. Yeah, Ellie's got fantastic pipes. I couldn't follow our distorted old rubric. I tried so hard to be the one who improves it, but the harder I fought. Yeah, so this is about someone who had the best of intentions when they started coming into it, but eventually those things frayed and decayed, right? She became dismayed, as if she'd been played. Should have just stayed home. A Gabble strike can end a life, but still my Gabble falls like endless cannonballs. Damn. It's wild, dude. It's so cool that she can make such an authentic sounding song, but still kind of work around a character like that, you know? The sound echoes back and haunt my dreams. They're taunting me, telling me that I'm the one who'll be sentenced today. In another life, I would pay the price of a million crimes until the end of time. Yeah, I get it. I get what this is all about. But this is the conclusion of my SP Patrons view of this track, Sentenced from Arknights. What do I think this track is about? Well, based off the lyrics, I think it's the story of a character in the game who, over time started off with the best of intentions, became corrupted, and now works for the people who hold power effectively, you know. She's got a lifetime of nightmares ahead of her. It's really sad and depressing. I think that the way that Ellie sung this, the vocalist, matched that incredibly well. I think that was the tone we needed to take with it emotionally. I mean, she's clearly a sensational singer, phenomenal head and chest voice there, very comfortable in her vocal range. Absolutely no complaints whatsoever about her ability to carry a song on her own. She doesn't really need anyone else helping her. But at the same time, I feel as if it's understated just how much she just absolutely slammed it. She had great dynamic range to her performance. She knew where to put the emphasis and the accents on notes. Her range suited the rest of the accompaniment well. And it's all sounded, there was a great unison and a great sort of synergy between all the really important aspects of the vocal performance to the story. It was good. I could understand what was going on and I could feel it. Actually, no, I couldn't. That's not honest. I don't really feel much from this because I don't understand the context. But like, I suppose if I understood the character better or understood who the leitmotif was for, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, this is really heavy. You know, I just don't know enough of her story at this point. The song itself, 3.5 minutes, within that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot there, nicely structured. Had verses and choruses there, lots of room for the instrumental parts of like the guitars, the drums, the bass, organs, etc. to kind of breathe there. It was fantastic. I think that in comparison to some of the other stuff I've heard from like Monster Siren in the past year or so, this is very much more understated. I think it is a classier track than what I have previously, and actually I kind of prefer it. I think that this is one of the stronger tracks, primarily because they just do the classic elements really well. You when listening to this track, the way that you had the really soulful guitar parts and the elegant little drum fills and the trepidation and those softness bits, the organs with the funeral sort of vibe and the bell Foley again when she talks about being sentenced today, it gave you the feeling of someone who had their judgment being passed on them. And I think that's wonderful. That makes sense to me. I can get how that is making me, that connects to the story. It's very well thought out. We had fairly traditional sort of chord triads here, and we stuck well within a sort of major minor sort of scale shapes. We had a lot of extensions here, but they didn't need to be. How do I say it? We didn't have a whole bunch of different sort of like lead parts individually aside from the singer, though we had like another singer come in to harmonize later on in that second verse, but we kept it mostly as a focal point around the vocals, and I think that was a smart choice at the end of the day. We didn't need to sort of over-egg the pudding, so to speak. So good job on that front, having a story be told with the instrument arrangement and performance throughout. There didn't appear to be a note out of place. I like how there was a bell curve of energy throughout the performance where things got a bit more sort of heavy in the middle, kind of things petered out at the end. So that was great. And just ultimately, like, there's a lot to appreciate. I think that this is actually one of my favorites. I was informed that this was a bit more of a sort of straightforward kind of track in relation to some of the ones I've reviewed in the past, but no, I enjoyed this one a lot, so thank you for that. Yeah, I just think that, you know, if the performance is good, if the, you know, the lyrics are good and the singer's great, you've kind of got that almost that triple threat. It's just the production that's on display here. And at this point, when I listen to stuff from Monster Siren, I know it's going to be commercial grade. The recording, the quality of their vocals was absolutely terrific. Both the harmonies and the synth parts, you know. There was dynamic range to the performance as well, which allowed the guitar, the organs and everything like that to breathe, although it was very muddy, like things were being sort of like warbling around your brain. It was a thick mix, which was kind of meant to sort of represent the thoughts, the intensity, the difficulty that the main character, the protagonist was struggling with, the storyteller, the thoughts in their head, the nightmares, how overwhelming it was from a mixed perspective. And this is very high level stuff. It sounded like that by the way things were filtered and kind of pulsating and writhing in the stereo field there. There were chosen resonances, which is very difficult to get right. It's extremely nuance based, especially when you've got so many people listening across so many different listening devices. That's the next level kind of stuff. It's what stuff I expect from Monster Siren, but I'm nonetheless grateful for it because this sounded like I was listening to a film as well as a track. That's part of, I suppose, why I was kind of not necessarily sucked in. It's my brain's like, sure, there must be more context to this. It almost makes me want to find out more about this person because of their story, which is inherently more powerful than me simply vibing to it. If I'm curious about it, that's great. That's great. Because that makes me think, I'm wanting to care about it. I'm wanting to understand the context, why this exists like that. I think that's cool. Ultimately, like the production is stellar. Everything has a nice warmth to it. It sounds like it recorded through an analog disc there. The preamps were fantastic on whatever was recorded acoustically. The samples, you can't tell they were samples. If they were there, the leveling of the instruments was down there flawless, and the, you know, limiting compression was nice to allow that pumping with dynamic range and change the energy level. It was just stunning. All in all, this is a very positive review of this track called Sentenced off of the game Arknights. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do go check out Arknights and you know, Monster Siren's various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need to help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons review. Spiderhands Out.